Okay, here we go. All right, guys, we're here live at the M1 Raceway. We're looking at the original Pontiac Fiero pace cars that are on display here. We have pace car, I think it's number 1 and 2, which are on display. So we're going to take a look at them and see the differences between the two. You can see they have basically the stock interior for a pace car with the red and the gray leather. These cars are fully intact. The Indy 500 Speedway badging and decals. The original centerline wheels. Sorry. Hood scoop. The aircraft lighting that they integrated into the hood scoop. Now, one difference between the two is the engine covers. As this one has the solid cover with the louvers in the middle, and this one has let's take a look. The louvers on each side and the middle. This one has the updated engine covers from the later years. And you can see here, all the trimming has been painted white. As you can see, this one has a slightly different color white on the light as it does on the trunk lid, which may mean that this light may have been replaced at some point. As we can see, all of the other white is pretty much the same. Centerline wheels on both cars. All the lighting is the same. If we take a look, we can zoom in. Oh, we can zoom. Look at that. Here we have a camera that was used to record the cars as it was leading them down a pack. Hey, how you guys doing? There we go. Better look at the camera. The other pace car does not have a camera in the taillight. Other than that, they appear to be pretty much identical. Don't know if anybody's watching yet, so we're just going to keep going with this because you guys can always catch it on the replay. You want to say hello to the world live on YouTube? There we go. Now we're going to go and take a look at something really special here. This is the last Fiero ever built. As you can see, it is a pristine example. It's only got about 500 miles on it. It still has the original Eagle GT plus 4 tires on it. It's missing the wheel covers here, but it's car number 402, which is 402 off the assembly line. Scan a tag, get the story. So if you guys can scan this, you can get the entire story of this car. I don't know if it'll work off of YouTube, but hey, I'm going to take a picture of it anyway and post it. And here is the VIN numbers. 6402, the last 4 of the VIN. Hence the nickname 402. Still has the original plastic on the seats. Look at it. This is a beautiful car. With only 500 miles on it, it's got absolutely no wear and tear on it. It's missing the covers on all, which lead me to believe that these wheels were installed just for the show, as they probably keep them off the car to preserve the tires, as these tires can no longer be found. So it's probably stored on another set of wheels and tires. You can see the car is absolutely perfect. Story goes that underneath the hood is a signature of every Pontiac employee at the plant when the last one was built. You can tell this thing is stored in a nice, safe environment as there's no delamination on the taillights. He is absolutely perfect. I'm going to bet that those are the original wipers on the car as well. And right next to it, we have the first Fiero ever built. Take a look on the inside here. And you can see everything as they initially built it. The first one off the production line. This one has never been sold as it was their first run build, and certain changes had to be made. It's got one of the things that give away the differences of this, but from a production version, no air intake on the right fender, on the right quarter panel. Now, seeing as how this was a first run build, the paint's a little bit rough, a little bit of orange peel in it as they were still dialing in the procedure. So she's not perfect, but it was the first one to be completed. As you can see here, first built. And no VIN number in the window. As this car was not intended for sale. As it's stated here, there's a fiero built here at the plant. Please understand, by being the first of its kind, slight imperfections may exist in the paint, finish, etc. Here is a overhead view of the plant. It no longer exists. It was a really big facility. And now, if we can make it past the crowds, this is the real star of the show here. Okay, we can work our way through the crowd. We can get a close look at the prototype. He was like, no. Take a look at the interior, and we can see all the differences. If you look at the cluster, and this is actually an 89, we learned. This well, not a 90, and this cluster was an actual operational cluster that was used in the Firebirds and Camaro. You can see the truck was widened in the front. We have the wider fenders. The headlight shape has changed. The front bumper. They've incorporated the turn signals into the intake in the front. Here we have our, then you can see how much wider the front fenders were compared to a stock Fiero. Give you guys a good look at it. They've added the wheels to both sides, driver and passenger on this one, with a scalloped door panel leading into it, just a styling exercise as the air is now comes in through the sail panels.
I don't even mean that. I just mean like it was never.
Now, this is just a prototype. As I assert, yes, there are some defects in it. There are some cracks in the sail panels, as this is just a prototype, not intended for use, just a proof of concept vehicle. As you can see, a few imperfections in the deck lid as well. You can see how much wider the rear track is, as the car now has the rear shoulders that I always thought it needed from the beginning. 16-inch wheels, very similar to what they were using on the Firebirds and the Trans Ams of the time. Interestingly, there is no belt molding anymore, as they smoothed out the entire body. Very much more modern look. Now, mind you, this was in 1989. Really interesting is the rear tail lights and the sculpting that they did to the tail lights integrating into the bumper gives it a really aggressive and attractive look. Still split in the middle, but they moved the lock into the tail light assembly as opposed to into the deck lid. Probably a smart move. Single exhaust tips on each side. And here you can see under the engine grills, there is a version. I don't know if you guys can make this out, but underneath you can see what apparently looks like a version of the dual overhead cam V6. This car supposedly, according to what I've heard, has a version of the dual overhead cam V6 in it, which was a prototype before the engine went into production. It was making well over 200 horsepower. And you can see the inside of the sail panels are unfinished. Again, this is just a prototype build. Yeah. So as a proof of concept, but it is a fully operational vehicle as it was built on the space frame chassis of an 88 Fiero. So basically all the mechanicals are the same other than the engine being different, which no doubt led to a different transmission, but don't know if there were any suspension upgrades. The wider track is evidenced by the deeper offset of the wheels. Not really sure about the braking hardware. Actually, the brakes look like your standard 1988 Fiero brakes. As a matter of fact, they are the regular Fiero brakes in the rear. So that wasn't changed. Let's take a look at the front. And the front, yeah, we still have the same 1988 Fiero brakes in the front. Now, this car reportedly has world's first electro-hydraulic power steering in it. And you can see how the front end was extended quite a bit. It is a bit longer. Now, I do believe this car has been refinished since the last time I saw it, as I remember a few cracks in the plastic that I don't see now. Oh, so there we go, guys. A beautiful version of what could have been, with In my opinion, I think it's a better looking car than the C8 Corvette, but I am a little biased. I'll give you guys a good look at it while we have a brief lull in the crowd here. Just want to give you guys as much of a look at it as I can because it is something you don't see every day. How much wider the car is, and it is quite a bit longer in the rear. Styling is somewhat reminiscent of the Acura NSX, I think. Except for the fact that it was built before the NSX. And this would have been Pontiac's answer to the 1988 supercharged MR2, which in itself was an answer to the V6 Fiero GT. As a constant friendly rivalry between Pontiac and Toyota went on with their affordable mid-engine cars. As the Fiero was first, the MR2 was second, was faster. Fiero answered with the V6, which was faster. Toyota answered with the supercharged engine, which was faster. And Pontiac was all set to answer with this car. Which unfortunately, they never got a chance, as this is the only one that was built. As I said before, as a proof of concept vehicle, there is a video on YouTube that shows the engineering, an engineering video which shows how this car went together with all the changes they made to attach the new body panel to the then current 1988 frame. All right, guys, that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the look at the Fiero unique and special vehicles. See you on the next one.